Arknights.
Hello everybody, I'm Lobaroda and welcome to the very first episode of the Spotlight. So in this series I want to pick one operator and just deep dive into everything the operator has. So we will have a look at the stats and the skills and the use cases of those skills. And we will also have a look at the skins, if there are any available, and talk about them, how great they are, or if they could use some improvements. And in the end we will create a tier list for the character. In a future episode I will also have a look at the lore, because it wouldn't be a deep dive without it, but it would be a bit long for one video, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, let's jump into the very first operator for the Spotlight, probably my favorite operator, or one of my favorite operators, Platinum. So Platinum is a 5-star sniper operator, and already her default skin looks great. Like the white colors, the bow, and the overall visuals of Platinum being this white silver girl just looks amazing, which was also one of the first things that drew me towards her. But let's have a look at her stats as a non-elite but level 50 character. Her range and her speed is that of a relatively normal DPS sniper, so she has the 3 fields in front of her and has a fast speed, which kind of translates to 1 attack per second, and with 11 DP she is out relatively fast. She doesn't have any resistance, which is kind of normal for snipers, and her defense and HP are not that great either. But she is already close to 380k, which is pretty good for a non-elite level 50 operator. So let's just jump to the next one, because now it starts to get interesting, I would say. So Elite 1, level 70. So in her range she got the 2 cornerstones, which is kind of normal for any sniper DPS operator. So she now has a range of 4x3. Additionally, she got the 2 DP, which is also normal from any E1 promotion, and her 80k increased to 414. The rest of the stats are not that impressive, and 414 sounds kinda low, but believe me, in terms of DPS snipers, she's in the upper half, and she also has some other gimmicks going on with her and her skills that will improve this 80k quite a lot. For an maxed out E1, purely on stats, she's pretty good. Her defense and HP is a bit on the lower side, I would say, but her 80k is actually pretty good for this state. And the E2 promotion does a lot for her. So let's look into this. Now, the first thing I want to say here is how amazing her E2 skin looks. So she's now completely white, her boots are now also white, and her faction, Casimir's, is actually way more prominent on her clothes in the center, which is a pretty cool faction logo as well. And I just like this whole chessboard around her, and that she blows away all the black pieces, being the only completely white piece on the board that rules the whole board. It's just a very cool theme and a very cool skin overall. But let's have a look at the stats. So the main important stat for a sniper most of the time is the 80k value. She goes up to 505. In general, which is a rule for nearly all the operators, your return of investment in Elite 2, especially if you go higher up, is not that great. So after she's Elite 2 and she got her talent upgrade or skills upgrade, depending what kind of operators we're talking about, you can level them up to around 40-ish, and then afterwards the amount of money you need to spend to get something out is just not really worth it, unless you really like the operator, like in my case Platinum. So she does get some more HP, which makes her more durable, especially also with the defense, but to be honest, she will not be in the frail of the battle. She will not get that many hits, and I'll show you later why and how. So 505 80k is okay-ish, but we need to consider one more stuff, and that is the trust 200% or 100 and a maxed out potential platinum. Both gives her ATK, so she goes up to 603 ATK and a maxed out version of Platinum. And this is a pretty good ATK. That's probably the highest ATK possible for a DPS fast sniper. AoE snipers can get higher, or long-ranged snipers that have very slow attack speed. But in terms of just DPS in a fast sniper, she's in the top. And let's have a look at the skills, how they contribute to her stats. So let's go from top to bottom. First, her maxed out talent, all out attack, which is amazing in my opinion. The longer the interval from the last attack is, the higher the ATK of the next attack will be, with a max of 2.5 seconds and 190% ATK increase. Obviously it's a pretty situational one. If you have a lot of enemies coming, it will not activate, but there are a lot of scenarios where you can just one-shot the first enemy, and that already takes a lot of pressure from your defense line. Or if you position it rightly, you can get a very good shot at a boss in, which will be a lot of ATK that you can deal. And this skill is especially great with her second skill, which we'll come to in a second. But let's go with the first skill of her, Attack Up Gamma, which is a auto-recovery manual triggered skill that has a runtime of 30 seconds, where she gets plus 100% ATK in a maxed out skill level 7 mastery 3 version. This is okay. It's a normal attack up skill. There is no other benefits towards it. It's just plainly more damage, which is nice, but like I said, it's a normal attack up skill. A lot of operators have those, and it doesn't make her special in any shape or form. So let's have a look at the second skill, Pication's Sight. This one is an auto recovery skill that will automatically activate, and the attack speed reduces slightly, but the ATK increases by 100% and the range expands, and it has an infinite duration. So it starts with 0 points and it needs 50 points to load and start, and from then on she will get another line in her range, which is amazing for any non-AoE sniper because they usually don't have that line. And she does double damage basically. The attack speed reduces slightly, is a reduction by 20%, which is a lot, but it can be negated with other operators that can increase her speed again, like Irescape or Elysium, or operators like that. But the range expand is what really makes it work. And you can already see here, Pication's Sight plus all-out attack can be a lot of damage. And with the increased range, she is in a position where she can be in different spaces that other sniper operators cannot be in. So it opens up the map to a whole new level in terms of deployment, where you can position certain operators and she can provide cover fire and benefit where other operators just cannot stand. And this opens up spaces for short range operators, for example, to be in a better position. And this is, I think, one of her greatest strengths. So I want to always show a bit of how the skills work inside of the game, but I don't think I need to show the attack up gamma. So we will focus on the Pication's Sight. And I prepared a little something where I used the Pication's Sight. Let's jump into the video. So this is mission 510, where you fight against Mephisto and Faust. The annoying thing here is that Mephisto will heal everybody that's coming towards you, and he will move pretty late. So I deploy Platinum here, and I also play a bit around with something that I will explain later with Sora and Warfarin in the middle and let her shoot at the enemies. So far she's not doing much, just normally killing the runners that come towards you. Now her Pication's Sight is active, and you can already see that the enemies fall before they even get into my defense line. Obviously there are some enemies that will just be strong against platinum. Whenever they have a high defense, there's not much I can do. So you always need to have some sort of caster support. And now the interesting part happens. So I kill the last runner here, and now she can focus on Mephisto. And I activate some more skills to increase her damage. And she's now in a position where she has 1695 ATK with every hit. And she can attack Mephisto without being in any attack range of any other unit. So what I like to use her for is to really snipe down high valuable targets that would normally be outside of my range. And in this scenario, Mephisto dies before any real issue with him happens. Like, when you remember the stage, his heal can be quite annoying. Without the buffs from Sora or Warfarin, she's at 1160. Now, I showed Warfarin and Sora, so let's have some math fun. What do I mean by this? Let's have some theoretical play how much damage you can actually deal out with platinum when everything comes together. That is something that usually in a real game rarely happens, but I think it's fun to have a look how the maxed out potential of the operator could be. There might always be this one stage where everything just falls in place and you can go insane. So first off, let's recap. Platinum has 603 ATK and we can get plus 100% with Pegasian Sight. Next up, we use Warfarin because she has a skill that can further increase the ATK by 90%. And lastly, we throw Sora into the mix because she has a skill that gives 100% of her ATK to every operator in her range. To understand this, let me quickly explain the damage formula in Arknights. You have your base ATK. On this, every skill that has a plus percentage will be added up and then calculated on top of this base ATK. So in this scenario, 603 plus 190%. Next up, Sora's skill will be added to this. So you have the 603 with the 190%, it will be calculated, and then plus 385. And afterwards, on the ATK of the sum of those two, every skill that has a increase ATK 2, so everything without a plus, will be calculated on top of that. Now, our example here would lead up to a final ATK of 2133, which is really not bad for a sniper operator who has one extra range. But we can do one more. We can add her maxed out talent in there, all out attack, which gives another 190% ATK on top. That leads to a staggering 3279 ATK. Let's continue our little math fun and see how this will look against one of the strongest enemy in the game right now, Patriot. Now we have our 3279 ATK. Patriot has a defense of 500 and 45,000 HP. Now we need to reduce the 500 from our 3200 attack. You could bypass that by using someone like Meteorite, Pramanix and stuff like that. And in the end, that would mean we could kill him in 17 hits, which is pretty good if you fought Patriot and know how tough he can be. But obviously it's highly theoretic because you cannot get those 3279 with every hit because the all-out attack will wear out after one shot on him. But still, I think it's a fun example to see what could be possible if maybe in the future there is some operator that can take away this drawback on her talent. So let's have a look at the skin. Coral Coast. I immediately bought that one because it is an amazing skin in my opinion. It not only has a great character model and great outfit, this whole floating clothes and goddess of nature style, but it also has a nice background, which is always important for me in a skin. And also there is still her theme going on with the chess pieces in the background hidden in the grass, which is just amazing. The only downside is it could have been a bit more colorful in terms of that the chibi version is very hard to see any details on it because of all the white and white. But that's critique on a very, very high level. Now let's check the tier list. As I said, I will create tier lists for every character that I put on the spotlight, and in this scenario for the snipers. And Platinum is a character that is an amazing character, a very strong character I would say, and also relatively easy to get. But she's not great on every map. Therefore, I would give her an A rating. I love to bring her around, she's a very strong operator that I use, and her propagation sight is amazing and can be used on a lot of maps where other operators cannot be used. But if you fight against a lot of enemies, if you can't really load up her propagation sight, or if you just don't get a good spot for her to put her in, she loses her value on those maps, and you can bring better operators. So therefore A is pretty fair, I would say. Even though, not gonna lie, personally she's S or double S or triple S. Like, personally she's an amazing character for me. And there you have it, the very first episode of the Spotlight, where I want to take a deeper look at characters, their stats, their skills, their usage, and to just bring out the true potential of an operator. I will do more of those, and as I mentioned earlier, I also want to do a specific series for the lore of the characters, because I really like diving into lore, I really like seeing the connections and finding little details. And let me tell you this, her second skill, Pegasian Sight, the name is important actually, and if you played the Maria Neal event you saw this name coming up quite a couple of times, so stay tuned for that. And also I worked a bit with the formula of Arknights, battle calculations, defense, attack speed, and if you're interested in this, write me and I happily make a video about this, explaining it a bit more and also explaining like the defense down or the different defense down skills there are, so you understand in which situation which skill might be better. If you have some input on this, if you have some questions on this, or just if you want to see it, write in the comment below, follow me on Twitter and write me there. Subscribe to this channel to be updated with the other videos coming out, and just to follow me with everything that I'm doing. And until then, I see you next time, doctors.